listen, first of all, welcome to Full Beard, my second home, as it's been known. I come in here quite often to get growlers of beer, and I have only one complaint. Where is my buddy? There's my friend. My complaint is stop making good beer. Because I keep on coming back for more. The problem I now got, I get this stuff at the lake, I bring it to the lake, and all my neighbors know I have Full Beard, so they all come over to my place to drink beer, and they say, come on back to my place and have a beer. And I say, no, that's not beer, that's canned stuff. I don't want any of that. So anyways, I'm hoping one day they're going to buy Full Beard. Anyway, listen, I want to introduce our good friend Charlie Angus. As we know, Charlie is running for the federal leader. He is no stranger to us. We've known Charlie all of these years, having to do with all kinds of different issues that we've been working on. This is a bit of an opportunity for people to get together, and if you're not already a member, sign up, because you can't vote for Charlie unless you're a member of the party. It's an internal party thing, so people will talk to you about that later. The other thing I want to say is there's hot dogs outside. The hot dog cart is alive and well, and it's looking to sell hot dogs, and it's looking to sell, I sell anything, Charlie, hot dogs or MPs. But anyways, I just want to remind people the hot dog cart is open. Without any further ado, Charlie Angus. I'm not singing.
You're not singing? Okay. Well, Lord be praised. Je suis très fier d'être ici ce soir pour cette célébration. Je vous remercie pour votre soutien. C'est clair. Cette campagne a d'opportunités pour changer les politiques du Canada, de donner une vision positive, pragmatiste et optimiste. And I want to say right at the beginning two things. I'm so proud to be here at Full Beard Brewery because to me this is part of the future of where we need to go. We need to start building these alternative ways of doing things, of new markets, of working with entrepreneurs and creativity, because community is always based on places of coming together and good ideas. And I gotta say, it looks a lot cleaner than the old Doran's Brewery ever looked, at least the way I remember it. I also want to say special thanks to Gilles Bisson. Gilles can sell anything. He actually sold me into politics. It would have been the last thing I would have ever done in my life, is be a politician. But one of the things I learned from Gilles, and it's why I'm running for national leader, is you need people who are not afraid to stand up when things matter. And my grandmother, Jenny Angus, was an immigrant mining widow in Timmins. And I remember my grandmother saying to me, nobody ever fought for us except the NDP. And the fight to get the Workers' Compensation Act changed, and to fight for security, and the fight to get the compensation for the widows. Gilles was one of those leaders. And that's why we do politics. Because if we don't have each other's back, the other guys certainly will never have our back. And you need people who are willing to step up and stand up and not be afraid. And that's why I'm running for leader. So I'm not going to talk for hours, or maybe just an hour and 35 minutes. I have a 12-point presentation I want to show you that I've worked out. Now, I'll just tell you a bit of what I've seen across the country. I am hopelessly, idealistically in love with Canada. It's an incredible, the beauty of our nation. I don't know, all you people who go to warm climates in the winter, I don't get it. I mean, I'd go to the Kootenays. I'd go to the Yukon. I'd go to Saskatoon in the winter. I know, I'm crazy, man, I'm crazy. But you see the incredible nature that we have, you see the resources we've been blessed with, and you see the goodness of our people. We're good people. We're fair people. But unfortunately, we don't always have a government or business interests that are looking out for us. And that's when you need government. So let me tell you, I was just in St. John's, Newfoundland. If you haven't been there, you've got to go. But when you're in St. John's right now, all the fishing boats are lined up on the docks. They can't get out into the crab and seabeds because climate change is happening now, and it's happening in the North Atlantic. And the first front line is the Atlantic coast, where the icebergs are coming down earlier and earlier, and the fishermen can't even get out to get their catch. When you think about what that means for our planet, you say to yourself, where the heck is our federal government? Where's the plan? How do we start responding when fishermen can't even get out to get their catch because of the melting ice in the Arctic? And I was over in Vancouver Island. If you've been there, most beautiful place, an incredible place to be. And every 5 minutes, we're driving up through the mountains, there's a logging truck going past. Now, that's not all that unusual here in Northern Ontario, but if you're from the north, you look at those logs and you go, my God, those are big logs. Now, what do big logs mean? Big money. So I said, so where's the mill? Oh, we don't have any mills anymore. They shut all the mills down. So where do the logs go? They process them they send them unprocessed to China. And that's the story of Canada today, that we have these incredible resources, but we allow unprocessed logs, unprocessed fish, unprocessed ore to be put on ships, to be processed someplace else to someone else's benefit. And then we sign trade agreements so that those same jurisdictions can have control over our resources. And what do we get out of it? We get nothing. And that has to change. And that's why I'm in this to run. And you know, we got a Prime Minister who's the great defender of the middle class. I don't know if you've ever noticed, Justin Trudeau. Every time Justin Trudeau speaks, it's for the middle class. And if you listen to a Liberal speech, if it was a university drinking game, and every time they said middle class and you had to take a drink, you'd be bombed by the end of 5 minutes. And you know, I love to defend the middle class, but I think Justin and I grew up in a different middle class.
Oh, he wasn't middle class.
Because the middle class he grew up in was very different. You know, my parents joined the middle class when they were 40. My dad was 40 years old. That's a fact. My dad was a son of a miner, and my mother was the daughter of a miner. And going to university wasn't an option. My mom quit school at 15 and went to work at Northern Telephone. My dad was so good in mathematics. My dad was brilliant in mathematics. The teachers at THVS took my dad aside and said, John, you're so good in mathematics, it's time to quit school and get a job. Because university wasn't an option, but they didn't want him to go underground. So he got a job on surface. And when he was 40 years old, he had enough money to go back to school. And he took the all-night bus from Timmins to Toronto, landing every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and he went to class. And every Friday at the end of class, he took the all-night bus home, got home to Timmins Saturday morning, and my mother typed up all his notes for class to go back on the bus the next day. And out of that, my dad became an economics professor. That's what the middle class was. For our generation before us, if you came out of the mines, or you were a first-generation immigrant, and you got an education, you got a good job. And your kids had an opportunity to go to school. And what did it cost to go to school? A summer job. You came out of school without debt. And my parents moved to Toronto. We all moved down there with my grandmother in a little house, but we could afford that house. That's what the middle class was. And my dad saved every cent he had so that when he died, my mother would have a good pension. And that was possible because it was the middle class. And I look at a young generation today, and they have no pension benefits. And they have $80,000 to $100,000 in debt. And they don't have the opportunity that if they go to school that they're going to get a good job. What they get told is, hey, this is the gig economy. You know, suck it up. That's what the finance minister says. Suck it up, it's the new normal. It's not. There's nothing normal about this. This is the result of deliberate economic policies that have favored the 1% over us year after year after year. And it's time we push back. It's not a radical thing to say, but they've had their way for too long, and what we have is growing insecurity. We've got economic issues, we've got environmental issues, we've got kids who are dying in Northern Ontario because they won't even provide them proper medical services. It doesn't have to be this way in this country. What it takes is a little bit of political will. That's why I'm running for leader of the New Democratic Party. And I'll say the I think, given what I've seen across this country, the goodwill of people, the sense of hope in people, the sense that people believe that we should be a better nation, we can be a better nation. And I'll tell you as well, because going back to my parents, Charlie Angus, my grandfather, he died at the Hollinger Mine just before I was born. And my grandmother lived with us. And every month she came downstairs when she got her old age pension. And she used to hold that old age pension up and say to all of us, the NDP got this for us. And I was a kid then and a smart aleck. I guess I'm still a smart aleck. But I'd say to my nanny, oh, come on, Nanny, they always had pensions. And she said, you don't have a clue of how hard we had to fight to get this. So we're not going to let what our parents and our grandparents fought to build, we're not going to let it slip away. And it's up to us. At this time, we can change this. And I think it's a historic opportunity. I think we can do this with excitement. I think we can do this with a little bit of drama and a little bit of fun. And we can build community while we're doing it. And so what I need to ask you, I want to have your back in Ottawa. I need you to have my back. And to do that, I need you to sign memberships, because this is all going to be won by members. I need you to vote. And the doors are being locked. We're going to need a little bit of financial contributions too, so we're going to have to come and shake his down. But this is a long race, and I'm counting on you, and I know you're going to be there for me. So this is why we are doing it. Because with the lessons that we've learned in Timmins, James Bay about standing up and fighting for our people, we're going to do that right across this country. So I want to thank you so much.